Hello Techies, welcome back to our channel UiPath by Sujitha. In this video, we are going to do a practice session on validating, that means verifying CSV files, that means data in the CSV file. So far we have learned creating automations using CSV files, Excel files and so on, right? So this is going to be a full-fledged practice session, very simple one, but the concept is very important, okay? So we are going to validate the data in CSV file and we are doing some actions accordingly. So for that, I'm going to take a CSV file and then read the input data from the input CSV file, process the data. If the phone number ends in 2, then sets to failure. Otherwise, set the status to success. Output the processed data to output CSV file. So if you could see here in this complete process, we have two folders, that means input and output. So in input, we are going to have a CSV file, which is nothing but this one. So here if you could see, first row is giving you as columns. So first name, last name, company, phone number and status. And rest all the rows has some data, that means employee data. So what is our agenda? We are going, and this is a CSV file, okay? So this example is by UiPath through the documentation. So we are going to practice this in order to understand the CSV file verification or validation, how to work with CSV files during our automation, okay? So if you observe, status field, status column is empty. Now you can guess this, right? So we are going to read the CSV file, the data from the CSV file, then process the data, and we are going to verify whether the phone number, whether this phone number in each row ends with 2 or not. If it is ending with 2, then set the status, set the corresponding status value as false, otherwise success, failure or success. Fine, got it, right? So quickly open your UiPath Studio and do this along with me. Though it is a very simple example, this teaches you very important concept. So please go through this example completely and do this along with me. So I have taken a separate file, that is verify CSV file, and I created a sequence here which is going to be my main flow. So as a best practice, always add annotations wherever it is needed and rename your activities accordingly, okay? So I have given the clear information here as my annotation, okay? So if you see in the project, I have created two folders, input folder and output folder, just for our understanding. Inside input folder, I have created one CSV file that is going to work as a input CSV file, okay? So if you have no data, just create a CSV file and have some dummy values as the employee data, but make sure that your data contains these two columns as a mandatory, okay? Phone number and status, fine. So now I'm just going back. So what is our first step? Read the input data from input CSV file. This is going to be our first step. Reading, that means we are going to use read CSV file, okay? This is our read. Just go to activities from panel and type read CSV. If you are not sure which activity it is, just type CSV and you'll come to know all the available activities related to CSV file, okay? So among these, just select read CSV, drag and drop it here. If you see here, it has read from file, output to, and has headers option. These three options. Among these, first is the read from file. So this is very easy to understand, right? You can make sure which is your input file. So we are going to give the input file here. Excuse me. So my input file is under input folder. Just select that. There is our input folder. Yeah, this one. and select this file. Next, output. So output, we are going to save this data, the data which is present in the input file, and save this data to a data table. Okay, so read CSV activity will read the data from the file which is passed as input file and save it to a data table. That is what it is going to do. If you just scroll over on this read CSV, copies all entries from a specified CSV file to an Excel range table or sheet, or saves the data for later use in the automation. So it is going to save it in the form of data table. So for that, we are supposed to create a data table variable, either using this variables panel here, fine, or use Control K. Okay, since that I have already created a data table in variables panel, I am going to use the same variable. Fine, I'm passing it here. And coming back to this has headers option, since our file has headers, that means the first row indicates the headers, right? That is the reason we are selecting this as has headers, so that we are intimating executor bot to consider the first row as column names. Okay, so this is fine. So what is our next agenda? Process the data. How to process? We are supposed to go through each and every row in the data table, right? That means processing. For that, what we are supposed to do, in activities panel, just type for each row. So each and every row we are going to, right? In the data table, we have a data table as an output from the read CSV activity, and using the data table, we are going to process our data using for each row in data table activity. Just drag and drop here, then give the data table variable as the input to this activity, and if you see, each row will be copied to this current row variable. Okay, now what is our agenda? We are supposed to verify the data in CSV whether the phone number value ends with 2 or not. How to check this? If the phone number ends in 2, if, that means we are going to use a condition, if condition. Fine, just use if in activities, type if, then you will get to know this controlling statement. Just drag and drop this, and now our condition is if, where is this? Yeah, if the phone number ends with 2. Where is the phone number? Yeah, this one. So in each row, if suppose I'm dealing with this row, in each row, this particular value, that means this column value, ends with 2 or not. How to check this? I'll tell you a simple way. Where is our row? It is in current row, right? Current row of, what is the column name? Phone number. Convert this to string. Whether it is ending with, that means dot ends with 2 or not. Fine. So this is my condition. Very simple, right? So if you understand the concept, if you understand the need, it is easy to automate. Okay. So understand the concept. We are iterating through each and every row, where each and every row's phone number value ends with 2 or not is the condition. If it is satisfying this condition, what is our agenda? We are supposed to set the status value as failure, right? For that, setting the status value, that means you are going to assign. Just use activities panel and just click type assign. You will get one assign activity. Drag and drop in then and else block, both the blocks. Fine. Now, if it satisfies the condition, failure. If not, success. Is our status, right? So how to save it to status? Our row value is in current row, and what is the column name? Status. This is the column name, right? So this is what I am using it here. Okay, fine. Similarly, an else block also. Status. Let me show you this. A row of status. That means the value in column status of that corresponding row, okay, is going to set to success. But all these data, whatever we are verifying or whatever we are updating, will be in dt_emp data. This is going to be our variable, right? This is our internal variable, but it is not been directly uploading or updating here, right, in .csv file. Now, how to do that? How to do this? Very simple. We are supposed to write it back to CSV. That means just type write CSV, drag and drop after the for each, okay? Because after dealing with all the rows, we are supposed to write it back to our output folder. Inside output, just create one Result.csv file, okay? So this is our, and include headers. Give your data table, that's it. This is what we are going to do. Now, if the file is already there and you are working for some other new file, then you are going to append the data. Because for the first time you are going to create the file, but afterwards when you are dealing with some other set of employee data, in that case you are going to append, you need to append the data to the existing file. In such scenario, you are going to use an if condition to validate whether the file exists or not. So use file.exists, give your path. What is the path? Path is going to be the output folder. Let me give the path. So this is my path. Okay. So if file exists, then you are going to append, right? So for that, go to activities and type append to CSV. It's very simple. So you are going to append in the sense it will update the current data table variables to the existing CSV values. Okay, just use this data table and give the file. There is a file, it is in output, right? It is in output and it needs to be result.csv. Fine, right. Now if the file is not existing, then write. Fine. So just close this one and don't save. Just close this and start running this file. Okay. So done. If you just go back to the output folder and verify, there is a new CSV file created, and let us see what is the values, data inside this. Fine. See here, if you observe the status column, this being updated according, right? So wherever the phone number ending with 2 being updated as failure, fine. Rest all other as success. So I hope you got a clear information on how to use this CSV file related activities in order to automate CSV files, in order to verify the CSV file data. Fine. So thank you so much for your support so far. Meet you through our next videos. Until then, keep watching our videos. Happy learning and happy automating. Bye bye.